barking yet. Hey gardeners, welcome to another video on my channel. I'm Trisha, and in today's video I'm going to be upgrading quite a few of my animals, as you could already see on the title. Chacho is barking at other dogs outside, so I apologize for that. So basically, you guys already know that I upgraded Chancho, my blue-tongued skink, into this amazing enclosure that's over here. And so I have an extra tank. And it's basically the gift that keeps on giving, because I decided with Chancho's old tank, I'm going to put Bloom in it. And then Bloom, my corn snake, I'm going to have an extra tank. So I was thinking I'm going to put Kiwi in that one. And then I'm going to have an extra Kiwi tank, which I'm going to put Mango, my African fat-tailed gecko, in. So I literally just have like all of these extra enclosures. All of these animals are going to get upgrades now. So it's literally the gift that keeps on giving. So it's going to be a very busy day. It's not going to be anything too extravagant. I'm pretty much going to keep things the same way that they are. I don't really have new things to put in them yet. So I'm just going to see what they look like. If they're too bare, then obviously I'm going to get more stuff for them. But yeah, we're just going to see how this goes today, and I'm going to film as I go. I kind of just woke up this morning and was like, you know what? I'm going to upgrade enclosures, so that's what we're doing. So I'm going to jump right into it. I hope that you guys enjoy the video, and thank you guys so much for watching. So this is Bloom's current enclosure. It is, I think, a 30-gallon enclosure, so it has a lot of width, but it doesn't go back very far. It's not very deep, so he definitely needs more space because he's been growing a lot lately. Excuse my dog who just wants to play. So the only thing that I'm really sad about, because I love this enclosure so much, it looks so good, but I'm just really upset because I'm really going to miss that background. But I'm going to be giving this enclosure to Kiwi, so Kiwi will just have a nice background. So I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning out the old enclosure so that way I can set up the new one. And this right here is Chancho's old enclosure. I don't know what size this is, but I mean, it's definitely significantly larger than that 30-gallon enclosure. So there's a lot of old dirt and stuff, so I'm going to vacuum that out, wipe everything out with vinegar and water, and go from there. And then basically I'm just going to try to take everything out of Bloom's enclosure and just put it into here. It's not going to be too fancy. I'll just see what I have and go from there. Chacho, excuse me, I'm trying to make a video, mister. Oh, Chacho, you naughty boy. The tank is finally cleaned out, so now it's time to go get Bloom and take him out of this enclosure so that I can move all of this stuff into the other tank. So now I have to just find him, which I'm sure he's probably in this middle hide, but we will see. And here's Bloom. So Bloom has to patiently wait inside this little tub. Hopefully I can get him to stay. Chachi, move away. Hopefully I can get him to stay in here and put the lid on while holding a camera. Man, this is kind of difficult. He's being really good though. Alright, corn snake is secure, so now I have to start filling this enclosure up. This is, again, much larger, so I'm going to have to add a lot more dirt into it. He does have a bioactive substrate in his enclosure, so I may add some more springtails just because I'm adding so much more dirt, but we're going to see how much I need. So I just put down a layer of coco husk substrate, and now I'm about to add in some springtails. So these are the springtails. You can get these at Josh's Frogs, and as you can see, if you can see, the little tiny white specks that are floating around, those are the springtails. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump all of this into this enclosure and then mix it all up. So, Chacho's just like watching this entire thing. So I just put in more substrate and it's very dusty, so I'm like, I've been coughing my brains out. But basically this is the old dry substrate that was already in Bloom's old enclosure. So what I wanted to do was put down that moist substrate at the bottom, so that way that's the bottom layer, because that always will stay moist at the bottom of the tank, and that is where all of the springtails are. And then the top layer is a very dry substrate. I believe this is the Josh's Frogs bio bedding. So that's what's on the top. It's much drier, which is what's needed for a corn snake, because you don't want to have a really high humidity for a corn snake. It's not what they require. So that is why there is 2 layers of substrate, and one is moist on the bottom with the springtails, and then there's a dry surface. So I added 1 plant. It's kind of a sad plant, but it's the only one that survived from Bloom's enclosure from before. It's hanging in there. It's a little rough, but oh well. So now I'm just going to add in all of Bloom's decorations and just place them where I want them to be. And Chacho's just like, he needs to be literally like on my lap. Exactly. So he's gonna be my little pal through this. So I'm just going to place everything where I want it to be. I think I want my worm hide to be on this side. So this is the worm hide right over here. I'm just gonna rearrange things and see what I like the most. We're gonna put this cool hide in this corner. He has multiple cool hides. We'll put this little castle one right up front here. That's the back. He usually is in this enclosure. He really loves that. Well, not enclosure, that decoration. Words are difficult. You know what? Water bowl. This is like so random. I have like no plan for this at all. I don't know if I like that. I mean, I just don't know. Chach, what do you think? Really? So much help. I don't know. I think this looks good. Again, I miss the background. It's just going to be plain, but this is like so much more space, and Bloom is all over the enclosure, so I really think he's going to appreciate this more. So, I don't know. I think it's ready. I think I'm going to go ahead and put him in here and see how he does. So one last thing that I want to do is add some leaf glitter. So I just have my little bag. This is like my favorite thing to do in the enclosure because I feel like it's like the best finishing touch. So then after I do this, I'm going to just take this entire enclosure and move it and then fill up the water bowl so I don't spill it everywhere in the process of moving this enclosure to the bedroom. And so yeah, we're going to go ahead and go in the bedroom. The lighting is probably going to be much worse in there, but at least you can get, hey, don't eat the foliage, mister. Hey, what are you doing? You can't eat a leaf. Anyway, so yeah, here's a last glimpse of what it kind of looks like in good lighting before we go into my bedroom, which is significantly darker. So I just moved the enclosure into my bedroom. I changed a couple of things around just because I didn't really like how it looked. But I added water as well. So I'm going to show you guys my new trick that I just learned from Snake Discovery. So I have these pennies in here that I let them soak for 24 hours in vinegar. And if you use pennies from 1984 or earlier, they actually, if you put it in your water bowls for your reptiles, it will actually keep all of the bacteria and algae out of the water bowl. So it's really, really cool. And also, if your water bowl turns blue, that happens, it's an indication that your reptile actually peed in the water bowl, so it literally lets you know if you have the penny in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss that in because I've been having really bad algae lately, so hopefully this trick will work. I learned it from Snake Discovery, so super cool, very interesting. So yeah, I'm trying this little trick out, and I'm gonna go ahead and get Bloom and put him in his new enclosure and see how he does. Also, one other thing that I did change, his lighting over here. Before he had a 100-watt light bulb, and that was because his other enclosure was much taller than this. Because this one is so much shorter, 100-watt would be too much. So I switched his bulb out, so now he has a 75-watt for this enclosure just to make sure it doesn't overheat too much and he'll reach the proper temperatures. So now it's time to go finally get Bloom and put him in the enclosure. it's time for Kiwi's upgrade. I'm not sure what size enclosure this is. I think it's like maybe a 20 gallon, but it's like really weird. It's just super tall. But this one is gonna be way longer. So I think Kiwi will have way more space in this other enclosure. So hopefully Kiwi will like it. But I'm gonna have to take him out so I can reset up his new enclosure and just put all this stuff back in it. This one is not gonna be as extravagant as the corn snake upgrade, but it's still an upgrade. So here's a little look at Kiwi. It's so awkward trying to hold Kiwi and ever take pictures because he's just like not about the camera, as you can see. But there's Kiwi. Time to put him away and give him an upgraded enclosure. And Kiwi's enclosure is done. It wasn't really anything too fantastic. I pretty much just put everything else back in there, and there's way more space. I kind of want to put something in this middle section because it looks kind of empty. But on the left here, that is the humid hive. Then there's just a little cork bark thing to climb up on. There's just a foliage that like runs through the enclosure. There's the water bowl with the penny. And then this over here is the warm hide. I have the heat pad underneath connected to the thermostat probe. So I have these like little stickers that I put back on here. This one was already here. That was Blooms. And then there's this one. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get Kiwi and put him in his new enclosure and see how he likes it. So this right here is Mango's current enclosure. She's an African fat-tailed gecko. I think this is a 20 gallon. So she's gonna get Kiwi's old enclosure, which I'm not really sure what size it is, but it's just much larger than this. So she's gonna have way more space and it's probably gonna fill this whole area out. So it's not gonna be anything extravagant again, basically just paper towels. She won't eat on substrate, so I have to keep her on paper towels. Otherwise I would love to do something bioactive for an African fat tail, but she unfortunately won't let me, so we just got to do basic paper towels and just try to make it look as good as I possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and take her out and start setting everything up. So here's Mango. The lighting is super, super bright. There she is. She is the cutest thing ever, so she is going to get a massive upgrade today and she's going to have way more space. Hopefully she'll appreciate it. So Mango's new enclosure is finally done. There is a really bad glare right now, but it's kind of shading up a little bit, so it might be okay. But there's way more space. I think honestly what I spent most of my time on was this background because it didn't fit, so I was like cutting it into pieces trying to get it to fully fit this entire background. So yeah, that took the most time. I have my cute little stickers. B. Steiner actually made this. This whole design right here for the sticker was actually of Mango, is a picture of Mango. I had to put that front and center for this enclosure. She also has this little sticker over here. And then this was actually a leopard gecko, but I left it because it looks like an African fat tail too, so it works for her setup. So in her enclosure, she has her warm hide on the right with a heating pad and thermostat. She has some leaves on top of the hide and she has a little piece of cork bark to climb on. She has a water bowl. I have to stick a penny in there still. She just has like random foliage, a little like tree plant thing. She has a humid-cool hide in this corner over here. And then she has a little cork bark thing right there. For African fat-tailed geckos, you do want them to have an overall higher humidity level, so I think I'm going to tape up the top part of the enclosure just to keep it more ventilated. So I'm going to let you see from the top what it looks like. There's just going to be way more space for her. I think she's really going to enjoy this. So I'm going to go ahead and get her and put her in here and see how she does.